Trigger warning. This film is literally Trans-Panic, the movie. So stop listening right now if that's going to unsettle you, because this film is bleak and it is ugly. You have been warned. This is Pointless Witticisms, the audio thing where I have 9 minutes and 47 seconds to adequately explain to you what a given thing is. Today's thing is Under the Skin. Have you ever wanted to see Scarlett Johansson star in softcore Vaughn? Under the Skin is a 2013 movie that didn't get to the movie-going public until about 2014, where people were surprised to find that Under the Skin is exactly what you expect from an art film. The film opens with nearly 4 straight minutes of staring into a creepy blot as it slowly forms itself into an eye, and presumably, somewhere off screen, some creepy woman that looks like Helena Bonham Carter is playing a really scary slow viola to symbolise how alien and inhuman this film is, with a soundtrack that sounds a bit like the bits of Annihilation that are there to wake you up if you fell asleep, and a haunting performance from actress Scarlett Johansson as she plays the role she's been waiting her entire life for, one that relies on her lived experience as an alien pretending to be a human. That joke probably went a bit far, because I like Scarlett. It's just scary when her alien pretending to be a human face here is alarmingly similar to how she just sort of looks at the start of the first Avengers film, or how she looks in most of the scenes in Lucy, as soon as she's gotten herself hopped up on those reality-altering mind drugs. Except where those films hope to convey a sort of badassery. Here, Scarlett just has this sort of forlorn distance to her character. It works, I can certainly say. The film is based on a book, and where the book is about a dog turned into a human so she can pick up hitchhikers and sell them to aliens for food, the film just wisely decides to stick to the themes of being uncomfortable in your skin, and the humanity of random people, and generally making the audience uncomfortable. It's set in Scotland, but you'll probably figure that out soon enough if you watch it, because between all the things like Tesco, that's a British supermarket chain for any Yanks in the audience, and the rolling, beautiful and haunting shots of the Scottish countryside and the little urban and suburban bits, you can definitely tell that it's Scotland. Now, Scarlett's performance here is exquisite and deadly, and carrying an alluring mystique that helps her to lure men in with the promise of sex, but as soon as they enter the bedroom they find something is wrong. This isn't a woman, this is a fucking transgender metaphor. This whole film's more than a little bit transcoded. Alien dresses up as a woman with the help of a friend, stays in low-quality housing, talks to men in the hopes of tricking them into having sex with an inhuman creature, and that's more than a little bit uncomfortable to watch. I mean, there's the whole feminist lens you could view this film through, of how she's turning the tables, and opposed to the general traditional danger of women sleeping with men, but this film is making the danger of men sleeping with women. But when the film is going out of its way to show that she's not quite human, and her identity as a woman is mostly performance, and it's learned, and it's all a trap for men, then that's a bit of a mess there then, isn't it? And it's really hard for me, because goddamned if I don't get a sense of pity and empathy from stuff where she's got this passionless mechanical look to her as she examines her naked form. The opening shot of the film with that creepy eye that they hold on for 4 straight minutes has a backing track of this inhuman voice gradually sounding closer and closer to a woman's, and that's really something that people that are trying to practice sounding more effeminate can identify with. And there is a pang in my heart, of course, when I see this spooky woman uncomfortable at being passed around a club and surrounded by the noise of crowds, the film heightening this sense of claustrophobia through these close sort of shots with frilled frames and the completely incomprehensible language that is drunk Scottish women. Even as this scene builds, even as it builds all this discomfort towards her picking up a man from a club and leading him back to her house to trick him into having sex with her. It's real. So maybe they kinda go whole hog on the transgender metaphors here, or maybe I just saw one theme and I kept focusing on stuff like that rather than the actual artistic merit of the film and all these random little bits that I just kept picking at. I mean, what does it mean that her attire keeps changing across the film from this sort of lady of the night while she's seeking out and seducing men to plainer and plainer stuff as she just attempts to live life as a woman? And what does it matter if the conflict of the film is her having to get away from the man that used to be in her life and the people that organised her life? And what does it matter if there's a scene where she's eating food at a restaurant and enduring countless stares the minute that she coughs? What does it mean that she empathises with an outsider who's had to endure being judged all his life based on the way he looks? And there's something at the end that I'm not really going to say because of spoilers, but really, if you make it to the end of this film and don't get it, or don't really get the impression that it might be a little coded in that manner, then good for you, because, I mean, I went through... Back when I used to think I was a boy, I missed a lot of stuff like that myself, but hey, you know, it's only when you start trying to distance yourself from how you used to present that you'll start to pick up on when something else is like that. Now, why shouldn't you watch Under the Skin? Well, there's the whole being uncomfortable at the trans panic thing that might keep you from watching this. And atop that, if you bore easily, you're going to be asleep really quick, because this is an art film. It likes shots of motorcycles rolling across the Scottish Highlands in the middle of the rain. It likes shots of the waves splashing against pebble beaches on the shores of Scottish beaches. And it likes crowds of unintelligible football fans pouring through the streets. It's quiet, except for the bits where somebody prods that scary woman I mentioned earlier, who presumably lurks off screen and practices her viola, and she proceeds to add some really creepy dee-lead music. This sort of through line that scares you and is meant to build and add tension to all the uncomfortable scenes. And that really worked for me, but I was watching this with my mother, actually, and her first response was to pick up the remote and start fast-forwarding it, because, yeah, some of these shots will last from a minute to 4 minutes, and this is not a film that you can just shut off and watch, because it's a little bit disturbing. Why should you watch this film? Because it's honestly really bloody good, and it made me feel stuff the entire way through. I would say that this is one of the most genuine reactions of, like, profound horror that I've had from a horror movie in some time, after a few years of just, like, quaintly watching stuff like haha, arg, gur, splat. This is quiet, suspense-building horror with, of course, the whole gender theme thrown on top of it that just... Yeah, that didn't help with my ability to watch this without being unsettled. So we'll end this, of course, by me saying how you should watch this film, because I would recommend in bits and pieces, because God forbid you try and watch it all in one sitting, you'd probably fall asleep or get too disturbed and turn it off. If you've recorded it on telly, then presumably watching it one commercial break at a time should work. Maybe a few 20-minute chunks a day. And that's how I did it, and that worked well enough for me. It's a good film. I liked it. I don't know if I can really adequately convey that, and at the same time express how much it got to me. Anyway, that's enough of me talking about something poignant. It's on this mostly because it didn't do too well in box offices, as I recall, or something, or at the very least it'll be one that people will have forgotten. We're back to meaningless schlock with the next episode, actually. I'm planning on doing Hell Asylum. It's a bargain bin film that I just picked up from a store because the name was stupid. It wasn't any good. It really, really wasn't any good.